We've had some really insightful and wide-ranging answers so far, and I hope this is something that will continue into our final debate of the night for Union President. I would like to now welcome to the debate podiums Liban, Zihong, Sam, Thomas, and Alex in that order. And with 5 people gunning for one role, it's a fierce competition. So let's cross our fingers for an exciting debate and that our candidates will get down to the nitty-gritty if they disagree with each other. President of the Union, Kingpin, the figurehead of not only a union, but a 5-member strong team of vice presidents. There is no denying that this is a demanding position that requires strong leadership capabilities and an ability to communicate with senior staff at the university about the union's progress and demands. Now, knowing what this role requires, candidates, I would like to know firstly, what do you feel constitutes the ideal union president candidate? I'll go to Liban first.
President is an individual who guides a team in the right direction. They're a public spokesperson who can sort of be fast and effective in adapting to their situation. They reflect the student body. They're professional, but most importantly, they're relatable to the group that they're representing. So for a SUSU president, that's representing them, the student memberships. Yeah, that's the president, someone who makes sure things are in direction.
Thank you, Liban. We'll go on to Zihong. What do you think makes the ideal candidate for union president?
Well, a president has to have good leadership qualities, make right judgments, and able to provide or come up with sustainable solutions for SUSU itself. And I think that's very important because SUSU isn't just a membership organization, it also runs some certain extent of business. We need someone to guide SUSU towards the right direction.
Thank you, Zihong. Now, Sam, what do you think makes the ideal candidate?
So the union president needs to be someone who can bring experience, knowledge, and their ideas together to really make sure the union puts students first in everything it does. They also need to know what the role of an effective union president is. They need to know how to represent students in the university and also to the local community, really making sure that they're working together with the rest of the team to put students' best interests at heart.
Thank you, Sam. So, Thomas, same question for you.
Okay, so my view of the role of SUSU president is basically that it's a glorified team leader. You're in charge of the team of SABs, and so the ideal candidate has to be able to lead a team, delegate tasks, and really organize effectively. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Alex, and you at the end, what did you think makes the ideal candidate for union president?
Thank you. So first of all, I think you have to be approachable to every student. That means you have to be able to go out there and deal with problems as they arise, whenever they arise. Second, we have to be a good communicator. You have to be able to talk to everyone and also listen to everyone. Thirdly, you have to be passionate. You have to really believe in what this union does to make a difference to student lives. And fourthly, you have to believe in yourself and believe in your ability to have that impact.
Thank you, Alex. Now, you've mentioned the qualities that an ideal union president should be, but what qualities do you have to be the ideal union president? Liban?
So I agree with Sam. You need some sort of experience and some sort of understanding of how to lead a team. I've been the president of Glen Halls, which is the largest in terms of landscape size, has over 1,200 students. I'm currently the president for the Law Society, one of the largest societies we have in this university. So I've got the skills when it comes to leading a team, when it comes to managing finance, when it comes to sort of being effective and efficient with...
Without going into too much experience of what you've got, that you've seen in your manifesto, what one quality do you think that makes you stand out against these guys?
Having that leadership characteristic.
Okay, right, to mix it up, I'm not going to go down the line, I'm going to keep you on your toes. We'll go to Sam now. What quality do you have, one quality that these other people don't have?
So this year I've been Vice President Welfare and Deputy President. So I really have the experience that from day one, I know what we can do better and I know how we're going to achieve it.
Thank you, Sam. Alex, you, ideal candidate, what quality do you have?
So I've been involved in the union since 2012 and the NUS referendum. I saw then some of the disengagement issues with the union, so I have the experience to know where the union is going wrong at the moment. Secondly, I also have experience from being involved in a high-level sport of high-pressurized situation and how to deal with those situations.
Thank you, Alex. And Thomas, the one quality you possess.
I'm not sure I particularly possess any qualities specific to myself that the others don't possess, but it's a combination of my ability to lead teams and head up projects that I think would make me perform as president really quite well.
Thank you. And Zihong, same question for you.
I do agree that having a lot of experience, vast experience in leading SUSU would help, and notably that Sam and Liban has a lot of experience. But I believe there is a difference between experience and judgment. And making the right judgment is important for an organization like SUSU. And I can make the right judgment because I'm trained as an engineer, and I am able to make the right judgment and deduct sensible policies and solutions.
Thank you, Zihong. Now, I'm going to move on away from qualities that you need to possess and more towards what would you guys do to motivate and get the best out of your sabbatical team? So you have 5 other members of part of your team. What are you going to do to motivate them? Alex, we'll go to you first.
So first of all, I want to listen to what the other members of the team want to do. I want to do whatever I can to support them in whatever they're doing. Secondly, I want to take forward policies that actually relate to what they're doing and work with them on those policies closely.
Thank you very much. Liban, same question for you.
I think what you need to do is you need to understand and appreciate the qualities that each sabbatical has, each SAB has, and then you need to optimize it. So, I mean, I know that each SAB will have their specific aspects. So VP Education has education. But if someone's good in a specific area, you might as well use that to their advantage. And if you work together, it will just be an effective team. So making sure everyone knows what they're good at and what they're not.
Sam, do you agree with that you should be leaving your sabbatical members to do tasks by themselves, or would you like to have an input as president?
So it's really important that everyone looks after their own zones. So this year I've had Sustainability Zone looking at things like equality, employability, and they've also had Student Life looking at the issues that students face when they're living in Southampton. The most important thing is that the whole team are working together towards the same goals and same priorities, no matter what area they're looking at. So for example, this year our 4 key focus areas are employability, communications, reaching out to more students, and then sport and art. Everyone's plans need to direct into those key areas so that we do achieve the best union for students.
Zihong, do you agree about everyone being team players and as a president being a team player yourself?
Well, I think union president has to really respect the qualities that the other sabbatical officers have. As the more brains, the better. It's important that the sabbatical officers forms a team to deliver services and deliver new ideas for SUSU.
Okay, thank you. And Thomas, so you've obviously heard team players, everyone's saying they want to be a team player. What are you going to do specifically if you've got a member of your team that's not motivated to reach the goals that you've got set as a team?
Kick them out. I think it's very important to just make sure that everyone's on the same line. So sit down and think, what is the main aim as us as a group for this term? So basically, yeah.
Do you agree, Liban, that you should kick members out if they're not reaching their goals?
Yeah, I mean, if they're not up to standards, they know where the door is. No, I'm joking. We won't kick people out at all. No, what it is when someone's unmotivated, you need to understand why they're unmotivated. If there's a friction within the team, then no matter how much you try to ignore it, the cracks are gonna show. So as a president, you need to understand what the problem is, and as a group, come together and understand how to resolve it, because it's a group work.
Thank you. Alex, so you spot a member of your team who's not as motivated as they should be. What are you going to do as president, leader of the team, to help resolve that issue?
First of all, I'm gonna take them out of the environment there. I'm gonna sit them down. I'm gonna talk to as Liban said, about the reason why they're feeling demotivated. Then I'm going to say to them, right, what can the union do to help you feel more motivated. And then whatever they say, within reason, we will do that, and we'll make the necessary adaptations to help them feel motivated.
Thank you, Alex. Now I'm going to move on now, and I want to talk about what would you do to mediate contention between members of your sabbatical team? So very similar kind of line. You've got maybe a contention between two members of your team. What would you do as president to resolve that issue or that conflict? I'm going to throw this to Thomas first. How would you do that?
I think communication is key. You just have to sit them down, make them resolve the issue. Just because generally when you talk about a problem between two members of a team, then their solution can be found.
So you believe in communication. Sam, do you agree, or do you feel like you would have to maybe take the stance that you think best suits your ideal vision for SUSU as a whole?
I think communication is key. Each and every day, the SABs are working together for the benefit of students. But the most important thing is to remember that no one stood up here because they don't care about students. Everyone cares about students. And that is what the SABs are doing every day. They're caring about students. They're doing their best for students. And I think that needs to come across really clearly every single day, every project we work on, every campaign we do, every event we run. We care about students and we want to do our best for students. And that's really got to be our focus, so that everyone's got something to work on.
With that being the focus in mind, what I'm saying is here, with the conflict between two members of your team, how are you going to resolve that?
It's all about talking and making sure that you play up to everyone's strengths. Some people working on different projects on their own at sometimes. Some people are collaborating on projects at different times of the year. It's got about being flexible, finding the ways that work for you.
Thank you. Zihong, same for you. Two members of your team. Do you agree exactly with what Sam said there about clear communication and that everyone here cares for students, and that's obviously a goal you'll share?
Yeah, I do agree with him, and I think SUSU is a part of the university, and the university is an education institution, and we are all here to learn. And all sabbatical officers are students or were students, so they are in a learning environment as well. So when they do something that I can't agree on, I should learn to do it differently, maybe, and we should resolve it in an amicable way.
So I'm going to now move on to quite a juicy question, because I want to keep interest here in bar two. What have you guys liked and disliked about SUSU's policies during the last few years? Are there any policies in particular that you've really disliked or really sort of had an appreciation for? We'll go to Sam first of all.
So I think this year's really exciting. We've got some huge projects coming up. We've got the brand review that Ben's led, there's a democracy review led by Kerry, and it's been working on the international review. These are brilliant things. They're going to make a big change for students. What we need to do next year is make sure that students' voices are heard all the way through those projects until the very day that they're launched, that it happens. So that's what we need to keep our eye on. So for the past few years, we've been forming a new vision, and that vision is to be the best union in the country by 2020. And I think we can get there. We've got the right resources, and we've got some amazing students. We need to bring them together and make sure that potential it really is realised.
Sam, anything that you dislike? Obviously, you've been involved this year, but is there anything that next year you would change? Because often, you're not, as a sabbatical team, you're not going to get everything right first time around.
Absolutely, we're not going to get everything right the first time around. The most important thing is that we recognise that, students recognise that, and students know how they're going to give us their feedback to make things better. I mean, yeah, there are days when I think, actually, I could have done that project better. There are days when I think, this project is brilliant, I want to do that bigger and better next time. But yeah, it's about learning from that feedback.
Thank you. Now, Alex, do you agree that this year's SABS policies for SUSU have been really brilliant, or are there any in particular that you've disliked?
I think that I completely agree with Sam that this year has been really, really positive in terms of the changes that the current SABs have been bringing around. What I would say is that, and I say this in terms of actual approach to running the union, is that I feel that over the past few years, we've become way too passive in our approach to dealing with the university. I feel as if we need a much bolder approach when it comes to dealing with the university. The example I give is when the £9,000 fees were introduced, the union appeared to just sit back and accept that, whereas I would like to see a much more bolder union actually campaigning against those changes to the keep fees at ideally the £3,000 fee, but probably more likely the £6,000 fee.
Thank you, Alex. Now, Alex there mentioned that we want maybe a broader topic of conversation within the union compared to this year. Zihong, do you agree with that?
Um,
Do you agree with widening the sort of the topics that SUSU have focused on this year and maybe considering more outside of what they focused on this year?
um, well, if we can get the resources, that'd be good. And I think it's what SUSU lacks now is allocation for student activities that it currently has. What we see is we allocate a lot less money than the best student unions in this country allocates to the club, society, and sports associations. So to be a union that everyone loves, we need to allow our members to have the financial freedom to, venture into their dreams and realize what they want to do. I think that's important.
Thank you. Now, Zihong mentioned there that maybe something to do with financial spending. Maybe is the spending what's to do with maybe some policies that aren't quite disliked. Thomas, policies that you dislike or policies that you like, have you got an appreciation for certain areas of SUSU this year?
Well, related to spending, I think the time most students engaged with SUSU this year was probably during the library referendum, because they were angry at the amount spent on it, even if it wasn't that much. And the fact is, I'm kind of of the opinion that SUSU, it's okay if SUSU's only engaged when then they're doing something wrong, because they can spend their time running bars and restaurants and making sure everything runs smoothly and have them there for students when they need them. But the push for engaging with students who don't necessarily want to be engaged with, I don't think is a great policy.
Liban, Thomas mentions the library referendum as a particular maybe weak point for SUSU this year, and that was actually the main point that people engaged, but it might not have been worth it. Do you agree? And are there any other points or policies that you want to highlight?
So with regards to the library, I personally like the idea of what happened with the library, because I feel that SUSU saw that there was a problem. There was a shortage in the library space. People were crammed in there, and they thought I thought it was the most efficient way to do it, because people revise at night time, some revise at daytime. So I like what they did with it, but I do agree with Tom in the sense that there has been loads of students complain about the amount that was spent on it. So in that sense, that was a problem, I feel. Other policies that I thought were fantastic were currently what Ben's carrying out with regards to the brand review. I mean, it's quite common knowledge amongst a lot of students that the image of SUSU does need to sort of improve. So I'm sort of in favour with that.
Now, you mentioned there, we'll move on to the next question as what you've just said. You've mentioned about maybe that was a bit too much spent on the library referendum. If I then, Liban, get you to comment now on the next question, what do you think about SUSU's current financial situation?
So, I mean, it depends on what majority of the students think. And, speaking around to students, I agree with some of them, is that sometimes finance has not been efficiently and effectively spent. So
what are you going to do to combat that?
I just think that we need to be very transparent. We need to be extremely clear with everything we do. I mean, the finance that we have is there for the students. So if the students can record and tell and see everything that we do, then I think that's the best way to overcome sort of any problems that students might have with how we spend our money.
Thank you, Liban. Sam, do you agree with that? What do you think about SUSU's current financial situation? You obviously know a bit more than maybe some of these candidates, so I'd like quite you to comment on that.
So I've been a trustee for 2 years now, sitting on trustee board which oversees financial matters. The union's commercial services, that's bars, restaurants, the shop, are doing so well, and that lets us put money into things that students really want. Clubs, societies, a letting agency, a recruitment agency. Across the country, unions are shutting down bars, restaurants, all this stuff, because they don't have the money that's being made from it. We have some really, really strong commercial areas that let us put money into some great things. We do need to be careful. Just look at the financial climate. The university's being careful at the moment. They're currently reviewing their business model to make sure that they are set up for the future. And we need to do that too. We need to plan for the future. We need to make sure that our priorities are right. We need to make sure we're spending in line with those priorities, and that every pound of students' money we're spending, we get the maximum impact out of that, the maximum benefit for students.
Alex, do you agree that the current financial situation of SUSU is adequate?
I think it is adequate for the time being. I have concerns about the long-term financial situation of the union, mainly because we're not meeting our own financial policies. I can't go into any more details about that now because I'm a trustee as well, and I have responsibilities in that regard. But what I would say is that I think that in order to achieve our goal of being a top 5 union by 2020, we need not only adequate finances to back that up, we need robust finances to back that up. And that's what I want to achieve with a long-term financial plan for the union that considers investment in key areas such as the performing arts, creative industries, and also our student groups.
Now, Alex is a trustee, but Zihong, you're not a trustee here at SUSU. So what is your opinion? Do you think that we should be spending for now or saving for the future?
I cannot comment on that because, well, there is insufficient information as of now. I haven't seen the latest financial statements yet, and also.
But as a consumer of SUSU and the commercial outlets that you see, do you feel like we're getting our money's worth for the commercial outlets that we have in the union?
Based on my understanding from the past financial statements, it seems that SUSU does not make any meet for the trading services, the commercial activities. We are putting in money, subsidizing things maybe, and we are not getting anything out of it as an organization. But so what I feel is that we need to review our business model so it can be more efficient and better, and like we can save on staffing and stuff like that. And we should also review our suppliers, our agreement with our suppliers.
Thank you, Zihong. I'm just going to move on now just because we're a bit strapped for time. Thomas, same question to you. Do you feel like we need to review SUSU's finances at this current moment in time?
I got to admit, I don't know much about SUSU's finances. I think it's just important to make sure that you're not spending money on unnecessary things, and perhaps look into
What
ways.
would you deem an unnecessary spend for SUSU in particular?
If we come back to the library referendum, £1,000 on T-shirts.
Okay. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, then we'll move on. We will go on to another question. Where do you guys draw the line between personal opinion and that of the student body? So obviously you are all human beings, you will think your own individual thoughts, but when your thoughts are different to those of the student body, how are you going to go about that? I will go to Alex first.
I think that's a very important question because as a union, our success is measured by impact. And if an idea that SABs have that isn't having an impact on students, then we need to scrap it altogether and go back to the drawing board. What I want to build is a more impact-focused union, so focused on where we can make it, on where we can make a real difference to students' lives everywhere.
Liban, do you agree with Alex that we should maybe steer away from personal opinion and maybe go for what the entire student opinion is on a topic?
So I think SABs can have their personal opinion. I mean, we're all humans. We all have a personal opinion. But I think when you're exercising your role and your sabbatical role, it's important to do what you're supposed to do, and which is represent the student view. So if your view is in contrary to the majority of the students' opinion, then I think you should sort of think about what you're doing and then follow what the majority of the students think.
So, Thomas, you've heard Liban's opinion on that. We've heard your personal opinion on T-shirts. We know you're good at voicing them. What do you think about Liban's stance on whether you should strike a balance between student opinion and your own?
So I think it's most important to take the student opinion into account, and if you do have personal differences that disagree with the rest of the student body, then you could voice them, but don't let them impact your decision making.
Sam, you're obviously a SAB at the moment. When you have a personal opinion on a topic that's different from maybe what the majority of students believe, how do you go about that?
So the most important thing is that we listen to students. We have hundreds of student representatives. We have people submitting ideas and suggestions and feedback through You Make Change. We need to listen to them. So one thing I've done this year, and we've worked with Shriti, the VP Education, on, is the You Are More Than project, which is sort of a rebranded, a relaunched Stress Less Fest that's reached out to more students on more sites than ever before. So we've worked with people like MedSoc, We've worked with people like the WSA campus president. We've worked with people like the postgraduate research committee to really make sure that our events and the activities and the things we're doing reach those students. Because no one SAB can have all of that experience, can have studied at all those different sites, been undergrad and postgrad at the same time in the same sort of conditions. So it's so important that we listen to students. At the end of the day, that is what we're here to do. We're here to represent students. And the union is your union. It's not our union. It's not my union. It's everyone's union.
Zihong, so you heard Sam say there that it's not his union, it's the students' union. Do you agree with that? And where would you put aside your personal opinion on a matter that you might maybe stand differently on?
Well, I agree that this union is ours, and we should provide opportunities for our members wherever possible. And however, what the brand review currently is running, which is currently running, that costs £20,000, is a bit of a robbing the opportunity from our students, because our students, we have students in the WSA who may have the expertise in getting the brand review done. So we shouldn't rob that opportunity.
Do you not feel then that the brand review is something that maybe the students as a whole are asking for? Do you think it's something that the SUSU's decided itself to go ahead with?
As far as concerned, yes, SUSU went ahead with that plan without much student consultation.
Lee, where do you stand on that? Do you feel the brand review is needed? Is it necessary?
I completely agree. I think the brand review is needed. You know what I mean? It couldn't have come any at a better time. It's clear evidence. You know, you can tell students are saying that there's a problem with SUSU's image. So it's about time that someone took the first move and decided to do a brand review. So I completely agree with the brand review.
What evidence is there to suggest that?
I mean, you just need to sort of walk outside and speak to the majority of the students, and they'll just tell you like they're not engaged with SUSU as much as they could be. You know, you hear stuff like the website. There's something wrong with the website. It's too much information. You hear all sorts from students by just speaking to them. So I think that I agree with the brand review.
Alex, is SUSU outdated? In particular, as Liban said, the website.
I think that I completely agree with the website being outdated, because it's clunky, it's not visually attractive. On topic of the rebrand, I want to make a very fundamental distinction. A brand review is not a rebrand. We might reach the end of this process and decide to do nothing with the logo, with the image at all. Personally, for me, I think of the word SUSU, and I can't relate it back to being a union. So I think we need a name that reflects what we are. We are a student union. We are a body to represent students.
Thomas, you heard Alex there say that we should really be clearly defining that this isn't a rebrand, it is a brand review. Do you feel like the brand review, looking into SUSU as a brand, is necessary?
Yeah, because over time things fall out of date. It's important to make sure that SUSU has a modern image, and I think the brand review does that.
What would you target first as part of the SUSU brand to really change?
I think we changed the logo. I don't really have a particular reason for that, I just don't like it.
Sam, do you like the logo? Obviously, you're as part of the sabbatical team. Have you really put your backing into this brand review? Sorry.
Absolutely. So the brand review was originally decided upon by students. It was voted on at Union Council. So from the very beginning, there's been student consultation. We can always do that better. We can always get more student views in. It's a really positive thing to step back and think, actually, is this reaching every single person at this university? There are 23,000 students here, and not everyone gets involved with the union. Not everyone gets what they want from the union. And we can tell that through the NSS results. They need to be better. We can tell that we're not reaching out to international students. That needs to be better. We're not doing anything for postgrads. That needs to be better.
But
So
can a graphic designer really solve those issues?
a brand review and a brand is not about a graphic design. It's not just about one single logo. It's about the entire organization, how it presents itself. So if I ask you, what is SUSU? You probably have to step and pause for a second and then reel off a load of things. Well, it's the clubs. It's got AU in it as well, and it's got the advice centre. And it's got the stags and the bridge. But actually, we need to create this identity so that people know that the union is the place they can go to make their ideas happen, to have a good time, and a place that really cares about them.
Thank you, Sam. I'm going to move on now to a question that really sort of considers our relationship with the university. Do you, as candidates for Union President, believe that a strong relationship does exist between the Union and the university? And do you feel like this is good for the Union, or is it a constraint? Are we tied down by having such strong links with the university? Alex, I'll go to you first with this one.
I think that we do have a very strong relationship with the university. I completely agree with that, Tom. However, that relationship needs to be honest, it needs to be open, and it needs to be direct. And that is what I want to do to building a more powerful and a bolder union that actually stand up for what students want and what we can achieve with the university in that regard.
Zihong, Alex said that he wants a bolder union. Do you feel like we can do this with closer links to the university, or if we take a step back?
We are part of the university. The university needs us, and we need the university. The university provides us the funding that we need. We can be bolder in many different ways. Like we can be bolder in how education is delivered, and how the university spend its money on getting more spaces for us. So I think.
So you like the current closeness that we have with the university as a union?
Well, the closer we are, the better it is.
Lee, do you believe that the closer we are to the university, the better?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the better our relationship with the university, the better the student union can be. However, I do think that it is important, and we should appreciate the fact that we are two different entities at the end of the day. So we need to sort of respect that we have our own autonomy at the end of the day. So the better the relationship with the university, the better the union will be, but as long as our autonomy is not affected and that we can do things that we want to do for the student body.
A lot of positives. Any constraints by being so close with the university?
Not really, unless like I said, the problem arises when they start affecting our autonomy, when they start affecting the activities that we can do. So I don't think there is any problem until then, really.
Sam, as Lee suggested, and Zihong also backed up, the closer we are to the university, the better. Do you agree?
I think a really strong relationship with the university is brilliant. When we're working in partnership for the benefit of students, we're doing some of the best work we can do. I work with university staff each and every day. For example, this morning I was outside the library raising the LGBT flag with the Vice-Chancellor. You do all sorts of amazing things for students. But we also need to be brave and stand up to things where we don't think that students' interests are at the forefront. But then our student volunteers are doing that each and every day. We have hundreds of course reps who go into their student staff liaison committees every day and are saying, this needs to change, this module isn't good enough, I want the student experience to be better. So actually we're doing that. I think we can show students that we can do that a bit more. We can show students that they can come to us with their concerns, their ideas, their suggestions for the university. We will take them seriously, and then we will take them to the university and show them that students want change, and we can actually work together to make that and to make the student experience in Southampton the best it can be, and make sure students have a time they'll remember forever for good reasons.
Thank you, Sam. Thomas, Sam mentioned that obviously we need to be brave sometimes with the university. Would you risk this relationship that we have with the university for better representation of the student voice? So if students were to get a better deal, would you risk this relationship?
If students want to get a better deal?
Well, in terms of being heard, the student voice being heard, if you had to maybe take a step back from the university, and the university you had maybe a policy that was against what most of the students believed in?
Well, yeah, absolutely. If the students want something and the university's going against it, then SUSU has to take a stand against them. You can't just kind of roll over.
Even if it's harmed the relationship?
Yeah, even if it harms the relationship. If students' beliefs are being infringed upon, then you have to say so.
Alex, do you agree with short-term confrontation for a long-term goal?
I think that in principle, yes, but I think we have to take it on a case-by-case basis. If it's something tiny, like I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but if it's something tiny, then I think we have to be willing to completely negotiate on that issue. If something bigger, like for example, the tuition fee hike that I mentioned earlier on, I think we have to be as much braver as Sam said, and a lot bolder in our approach.
Lee, Alex mentioned that maybe if it's a small issue, don't bother confronting the university about it. Is any issue really too small to talk about with the university?
If it affects students, then it's not too small. I mean, at the end of the day, we're the student union, so if there's an issue affecting students, we should take it upon ourselves to address that issue, no matter how small it is or how big it is.
Zihong, do you agree with the consensus of your candidates at the moment regarding risking the relationship we have with the university?
Yeah, I do agree with them. I think whenever we bring an issue to the university, they definitely will listen to us because we represent the student voice, and if they don't listen to us, then the ranking won't go up. Which recently our vice chancellor had a speech which covers the university plan, and he states that he envisioned our university to become better, and the steps taken is to really improve teaching quality, and so I think the university will welcome our suggestions and that we take them.
Thank you. Now, final 10 minutes of the debate, guys. I'd quite like to see, if you do not agree with each other, please voice it. Don't rely on me to ask you. Next question is, you guys as president will have control of the commercial side of the union. What changes would you want to enact when looking at the commercial arm of SUSU? I'm going to go to Thomas first.
I think the commercial arm of SUSU at the moment works quite well. It might be worth looking into areas where...
Sorry, Thomas, could you get close to the mic? I don't want people to miss your point.
Okay. I think the commercial areas of SUSU work quite well at the moment, and it might be interesting to look into areas where you could potentially expand that to make more money for the union. Something's funny.
So, Sam, do you agree that we need to expand successes that we've had this year, or would you look at branching out into new areas of commercial sort of aspects for SUSU?
I think we always need to build on successes, whether that's in the commercial areas, whether it's some of the campaigns and projects we do. So the one thing about the commercial areas, at the moment, unfortunately, there's this attitude that goes around that you can't have your say, that SUSU's just out to make money, and that's not true. It's completely untrue, and that's got to change. Students can have their say. You can have your say and change things in commercial areas. You don't like something in the Stags? Let us know. You think there should be a veggie burger in Bar 3? Someone did this year, and we got that, and that made that happen. So you can have your say. Things can change, and we really need to get that culture of people giving their feedback, improving things for the future.
But SUSU is a business, and it does generate money. What are you going to change? Where are you going to pump that money back into in the union?
So the big focus of where that money goes at the moment is into our clubs and societies. It's the main way that thousands of students engage with the union. It's the things that people remember long after they've left. So I really want to make sure that we keep up our support for clubs and societies. We celebrate the things they're doing. I mean, we had Enactus winning a worldwide competition this year. Our sports teams are doing amazing things every single day. The Cake Decorating Society who are on the Great British Bake Off Extra Slice programme. They do amazing things. They do great things for our students. So we need to support them financially and in other ways. But yeah, we need to make sure that all of our money that is generated by commercial areas goes back into things that students really value in the union.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Alex, changes. Any changes you'd like to enact in the commercial arm of SUSU?
What I would say is that first of all, when it comes to budget events, we need a much more direct marketing plan. At the moment, questions are often asked that can't be answered directly, which often leads to issues of transparency and openness, which pushes further towards external events. We need to set out clearly when and what information will be released to them. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier, I have a plan to develop a long-term financial plan for the union. This will include looking at ways that we can direct more money towards our student groups, while also maintaining the success and growth of our commercial branches.
Zihong, any changes that you would make to the current commercial setup of SUSU? Less where the money goes, maybe more what changes you would make to maybe the cafe or the shop?
Well, for the catering outlets, maybe SUSU should invest in getting more diverse menu For instance, in this building, we have the cafe and the university-operated piazza. So both of them are selling somewhat things that are about the same, and the cafe can diverse and make changes like to their menu. This is called Blue Ocean strategy. And then for the retail outlets, we should invest in probably more technology like self-checkouts, so we can cut down on staff costs and pass the savings to our members.
Thank you, Zihong. Liban, same question. Commercial side of the union. Do you agree with what Zihong just said there?
What about self-checkouts?
Self-checkouts, maybe a more diverse menu. Are those really the key highlights for the commercial area that we need to change right now?
Yeah, so with regards to commercial awareness, with our commercial activities, I think before we think about sort of going and opening new avenues, I think we need to look at what we currently have and see how we can optimize it and make sure it's the best it can be. Catering is something I have spoken about in my manifesto, purely because there are so many students who are restricted to what they can eat. For example, like Muslims or Jews or even vegans, like SUSU shop is currently the only place where halal meat is served as sandwiches. So if they don't like that specific one, they need to go home, whereas other students has a range. So if we appreciate the fact that the student union is there for everyone, our catering needs to change and it needs to reflect that. So I think the first thing we need to do with regards to our commercial activity is make sure what we have currently is great, and then think about maybe building upon that.
Thank you, Liban. I'm going to move on now to another question. Sam, I'll head this to you first. What do you understand by the term of the greater good as referred to in the Vision 2020 strategy?
So it's not quite the Harry Potter definition, or even Shaun of the Dead. No, not Shaun of the Dead. The other one, Hot Fuzz. Terrible. So actually, the greater good is about looking to the long term, building a union that is going to be here to serve students and do its best for students in the future. So you do get caught up. If you're a sabbatical officer, you've got your 1-year term, and it's quite tempting to think of sort of things I can finish by the end of June, things that are going to take place this year. But actually, what I think we've done, as this sabbatical team, we've really looked towards the future. We're building up projects that will go on to be bigger and better in future. We're putting the building blocks for things in place that future students will enjoy and need. Because ultimately, the Students' Union is going to be here serving students for a long time after I'm gone, hopefully. So I really think we need to make sure that the decisions we're making aren't for short-term good, but actually have a long-term impact on students.
Zihong, you heard Sam say that he's hopefully the union building will still be here in a couple of years' time. What do you term as greater good? How do you interpret greater good when looking at the Vision 2020 strategy?
I'm not sure, I guess.
If we're doing something for the union, for the greater good, what do you interpret by that wording?
I guess it means giving more opportunity, providing more opportunities for our students, and enriching their university lives. But I think for the union plan, we need to have more sustainable solutions, not just a plan that is going to end in year 2020.
Thomas, if the Vision 2020 strategy suggests that a change is for the greater good, how do you interpret that?
Well, the greater good would be something that students think improves their time at uni. It seems quite straightforward.
Do you want to expand on that at all?
Nope.
Okay, Alex. Vision 2020 strategy, something for the greater good. Again, same question to you. What do you believe that changes we would do for the greater good?
I think that I come back to my point earlier on that I made about our success being measured by our impact. We need to be doing stuff and taking projects and activity that have maximum impact on students' lives. Our goal as a union is to unlock the potential and enrich the lives of every student. That's thing that we should be, and we are 100% focused on. But that's also comes into as Sam and Zihong mentioned, the sustainability impact of that, of keeping going as long as keeping going and keeping going and a long-term plan for the future.
Thank you, Alex. Liban, Alex mentioned that something for the greater good is having maximum impact for students. Do you agree?
Yeah, so with regards to the term greater good, I think it sort of activities which have a beneficial interest now, but it has a lasting impact as well. So it's not doing something massive and having all this impact at this stage, because like Sam said, the union hopefully will be here for many more years to come. So it's something that lasts along the line.
Lee, I'll start back with you as we head back down the line for the final question. So please make these count, guys. What are you going to do to make yourself approachable to all students? Keep these answers brief if you can. We have 2.5 minutes between all of you. How are you going to be approachable?
The thing is, to be approachable, you need to be relatable. Students need to feel comfortable. They need to be able to look at you, to hear you speak. They need to be able to see themselves in you. And I feel like I can represent the majority of the student. I'm just a typical guy who came to this university to get a degree and also to enrich my degree. And that's what most students are here for as well. So you just need to be approachable. And
Zihong, how are you going to be approachable? What makes you the most approachable candidate here?
I think sabbatical officers should really spend time with students and be available to students, not just here in this building, but outside this building. And I think to be approachable, we also have to have a good portfolio of what we've done, so they will appreciate what we've done, and they know that we put in a lot of effort for them.
Thank you, Zihong. I'll have to move on to Sam. Sam, how are you going to be approachable? You've obviously demonstrated stuff this year, but what are you going to do next year as president, being the figurehead for SUSU?
So it's all about making sure that students know how they can have their say, how they can get in touch, whether that's through You Make Change, email, coming down to the SAB office, having a chat on Facebook. What we really need to remember is that not all of our students are based on Highfield campus. We've got students at SGH, WSA, the Knock, Avenue, Boulderwood. We've got students in Malaysia, halfway across the world. So what they really need is their strong student rep system, their clubs and societies, feeding up all of this information, all of their feedback, their ideas and suggestions back into SUSU to make sure that we really are listening to students across the board.
Sorry, Sam, I'm going to have to cut you off. We have got short time. Thomas, you, again, how are you going to be approachable?
Okay, so yeah, my main aim as president would be to make sure that I'm using student ideas, not my own. I'm not interested in what I want to do with the role. I'm interested in what students think would improve the union. So I'd make sure that people can contact me on Facebook, email. They can come into the office and talk to me directly about their ideas, and I can work through them with them instead of for them.
Thank you, Thomas. Alex, what makes you Mr. Approachable when it comes to SUSU?
I'm going to create a president communication plan that will outline the way that students can get hold of me whenever and whatever they want to find out. On a daily basis, I'm going to publish online my activities of that day so that people know when and where they can find me and what I'm up to. I'm also going to go to clubs and societies meetings and talk to members and members of their committees about what they want from their union.
Thank you, Alex. Can I get a round of applause for the union president candidates, please, guys? If you would like to recap on yesterday's debates, as you've seen, as well as tonight's, please head to YouTube, go to SUSU TV Southampton on YouTube, and also make sure that you join us again on the 1st of March at susu.tv/live for our Q&A, where we get to grill these guys and all the other candidates running for SAB positions even more. We'll see you then, and in the meantime, remember to keep up with these people's campaigns and keep up to date on SUSU with all of the elections goings on. Thank you very much for joining us, and good night.